In this video, I'm gonna be explaining to y'all exactly how I built my net worth to over $100,000 by 20 and my plans on how I'm gonna turn that $100,000 into over $1 million, and overall just how to get ahead of the normal person, because I can assure you most 20-year-olds do not have $100,000, and actually a lot of 30-year-olds don't even have $100,000. So if you want to know how to build your first $100,000, this is going to be perfect. So the very first thing I did in my journey was obviously get a job, and I was working for minimum wage at Taco Bell, which was like $12 an hour back when I first started. From there, what I did was I just sacrificed a lot. So basically, when all my friends would be spending money on like cool, just fun things, going out and all that, I would, I'd still like go out with my friends, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't just go spend money on whatever. I'd be very hesitant if I bought any food, because why would I buy food if there's food in my house, right? So for a while, I just sacrificed, and that simply meant just stashing away a lot of money into a savings account and actually opening up a investment account. This is where things started getting exciting. So because I was sacrificing, essentially what happened was I was able to free up a lot of my money so that I could take opportunities and learn things that others wouldn't, because they simply were spending their money. So in the very beginning, what I did was kind of just test out what exactly I liked and what I was good at. So a perfect example of this was basically when crypto started to really take off. So we're talking 2020, 2021 era. And I started trading Bitcoin mainly. And from there, I essentially just learned all about markets and really everything past like the simple index funds. Like I learned about technical analysis and a bunch of other trading things that actually helped me do fairly well in crypto. And now it was kind of hard to do poorly in crypto at that time since everything was going up. And don't get me wrong, I didn't become like a millionaire or something off of crypto. Again, I was only 16, so I was only saving a little bit of amount, but that little bit of amount gave me that opportunity that most other people won't have. So I learned all these things, and yeah, I profited like $2,000 in total or whatever, but that's not really game changing. What was changing was figuring out that personally I'm not too into day trading, which is what I was doing with crypto. But I did like to be able to like swing trade markets, and that's what I was better at, and what was overall just better for my mentality, because I didn't have to think about it all the time. And this really led me to take opportunities later down the line that essentially I wouldn't have even really considered. I would have considered it too risky before. So I think this was a very valuable experience, but I was only able to do this again because I actually sacrificed. And a lot of people aren't willing to do that first step, and they forget that to learn those lessons, you're gonna have to fail a lot, and you're going to have to likely spend or invest money. So this is how I started kind of getting my first maybe $10,000, was simply working and just testing out things that interested me. Now, how did I get from that $10,000 to $100,000 while still working minimum wage? Mind you, I really didn't ever, oh my God, these things are flying around. But mind you, I didn't really ever have like a crazy career, and still I don't get paid like $100,000 a year or something. However, what did help me a ton in breaking out of that fast food kind of cycle was simply learning and applying skills. So what I mean by this is, by 17, there was a engineering company that I could provide value to because I knew machining. So what I did was, through a connection that I made through school, I simply asked if I could maybe help out with the company, and they accepted. Now, this is perfect because not only were they paying me more, however, this also led me to go into the position that I am in currently now with the same company, which has drastically increased the rate at which I can accumulate wealth and that I can accumulate skill. So just through taking action and simply asking and networking, again, I just did this all through my public high school, right? I didn't go anywhere special, but I just simply leveraged my skills and was like, okay, what are these people going to want from me that I can provide at a good enough cost to where it makes sense for both of us? And that's what you really need to be thinking. Whether it's in like a career or if you're trying to start a business, right? All these things are absolutely integral on getting money flowing into whatever endeavor you are trying to make work. So yes, for the first 100,000, it really is as simple as you think. Now, that doesn't make it necessarily easy, however, it is simple. Essentially what you have to do is live on less than what you're making and make a plan. Literally write out all of your expenses and then see what is left over at the end of the month. And if you're serious about this, yes, you're gonna cut out a lot of fun, especially those first 2 years. Those are the years I would say that you really can't buy anything crazy. You really just gotta go fucking nuts and lock yourself in, right? I didn't buy this car until I was 19. That's 3 years after I started working, right? So, like I said, those first 2 years, basically live like you make nothing, while also trying to leverage your skills and get better. Because what you're gonna do is essentially have that extra money to take opportunities and build your net worth through simply investing. So the main things you have to remember about this stage is emergency funds. The thing that's going to kill you the most is emergencies that you cannot avoid. So be prepared with those with cash. Another thing that's going to kill you is not taking advantage of compounding interest. So be investing. Even if it seems like a small amount, I proved that in this video on building wealth by simply $5 a day, that it doesn't take a lot to get ahead of most people, especially if you start early. And that doesn't mean you have to be a 401k warrior if that's not your vibe. However, I do recommend investing, especially when you're young, to take advantage of that compounding interest. And I can promise you, I have already seen the growing effects of this in my own life through my net worth. So yeah, the first 100,000 isn't like some crazy special scheme that I had to go through. And frankly, as long as you can live on basically bare minimum, it's not going to be that difficult. Now, if you have 3 kids and are a single parent, yeah, life is going to be tough, but that was your choice. Make sure you understand the situation you're in and how to make the best of it. Don't be a pessimist, but also be realistic. Now, this is gonna bring me in to how I plan on making my first $1 million. Now, a lot of people might say this information might not be valuable because I actually haven't done it yet, of course. However, I do think there are some principles throughout here that may be applicable no matter where you're kind of at, and especially if you're still in those beginning stages of figuring out what you want to do. I think this may be valuable. What is my main drivers that I'm investing in right now to take my around $100,000 net worth and explode that to over $1 million? And mind you, this is not over a lifetime. Trust me, that would be much more. I'm talking within the next 10 years. Similar to the first $100,000. The next 900 are going to be shockingly similar, but a lot more complexities and a lot more pathways in which you can go wrong. So my main driving factors are going to be likely one, investing, just simply through index funds and such. And then also another thing is going to be investing in real estate. This is something that I'm going to use to help keep my expenses low by house hacking. And also, eventually, I want to use this real estate thing as something that has been proven to work over a long period of time. Although it's safe, it's not quick, but that's okay, because this is where the third and final thing is going to come into effect. And the third prong to this approach is really just investing more in sort of like education, and that being education in myself and also teaching others skills that I have acquired over these past few years. So right now I'm teaching you all about how I am starting my wealth journey, right? But I can also apply this. That was ridiculous. I just hit the gas while on the clutch. Anyways, I can also apply this to like engineering, right? So I have a lot of skills and it pertains to like controls engineers, and I may be able to either teach people or freelance my services out to companies who may not have enough money to, buy a full-time engineer. All this to say is that this three-pronged approach is going to have all the goods. We're going to have long-term liquidity, which is going to be within just a simple investments, most likely tax advantaged. We're going to have a proven method to help keep my cost of living low, and to eventually turn into sort of a cash flowing monster, right? However, that's going to take likely more than 10 years for those results to really, be seen, right? I'm likely not going to be making $100,000 in profit my first year owning one real estate property, okay? However, I also want to do something scalable and kind of more business oriented, and that's the third prong. So we have everything you could possibly want in this approach, while also not doing too many different things at once. I really think this is individual, and you need to evaluate what you're gonna do personally to get to $1 million. But these are the kind of like three-pronged attack thing I would kind of go for not only longevity, but also just scalability, right? So you basically want us to have something that people are gonna need, right? People are gonna need houses. People are gonna need electrical engineers, especially in the 21st century, right? And then also what you need to do is just how can I scale these needs, right? So that's going to be like my engineering, freelancing, right? I can get multiple clients compared to just working at one 9 to 5. And this is also pertaining to real estate and obviously compounding interest in the market. So take that idea, right? Maybe you're not an electrical engineer. Maybe you're not a real estate mogul or wannabe, right? But take those principles and apply them to whatever you want to do into life. And this is what I've seen a bunch of millionaires do, and how I'm going to change my life and take that $100,000 that I have right now and turn that into well over 7 figures. So I hope this video was useful, and yeah, I really hope you just gained a lot of value. Maybe now it's more clear on where you should start and the mindset you should have going forward into the future to have long-term sustainable wealth. Thank you all for watching. Other than that, peace.